The most important thing is making sure you get your facial and lingual extensions where you want them before you try to go gingerly. Okay, let's make sure I'm lined up right. Okay. All right. So you're too far from the adjacent tooth.
Yeah.
When you're that far from the adjacent tooth, it feels safe, but it's really dangerous.
Oh.
Okay. So this is the middle of the contacts. This is where you wanted to go, right here. So if you look the way I am, you can see exactly how close you are to the adjacent tooth. Want to be really close. Get rid of all that excess. Then you're going to go out and find the facial and lingual margins. Now you're out pretty far here. Ultimately your margin is going to be way out here. And of course over here the margin is going to be way over here, right?
Yep.
So if you're closer to the adjacent tooth, then you can just sort of move the margin a little bit at a time. With the burr right next to the adjacent tooth until you check down here and you say, oh, okay, I think I'll probably have enough clearance over there. Mm-hmm. So you didn't have to go out quite as far as you did. You're leaning your burr this way instead of keeping it vertical. Make sure you keep the burr vertical as much as you can. Then you would have cut straight in at a 90-degree angle. But right now we're going to move your margin out farther facially because that's where you kind of have it. So I move the margin, recut the angle, recut the length, make a nice curve, but again, don't have the burr leaning like this.
Okay.
Okay, so now we have a little bit too much clearance, but at least we have a nice clean margin and we have a nice 90-degree angle. And now you can see that the box corner should be about right here. Now over here, you know, we're gonna ignore this part right here.
Okay.
Again, with the burr as close as you can get it to the adjacent tooth. Find your margin. That's where it should have been. Then find your angle inward. Get the margin, get the angle, get the length. Make a curve to join the isthmus, wherever that is. Okay, then you can see where we could have put the axial right here. So when you go gingerly, we're going to make a corner about right here and cut away from the facial wall. Make another corner about right here and cut away from the lingual wall. So that's where we're going to try to keep the axial wall, from there to there. So we'll kind of ignore all this. Okay, so switch to your 55 burr. Let's see how that works out. All right, so do you think you're going to have enough clearance facially?
Mm-hmm. Locally not.
No. So you want to move out facially farther, don't you? Okay, now lingually you've got maybe a little bit more than you need, huh? Mm-hmm. Okay, so the pulpal floor position's pretty decent. We talked about this part over here. But we go to the middle of the contact at the same pulpal floor level, right to the middle of the contact, as close as you can to the adjacent tooth. Then we just nip away a little bit at a time until we get the clearance. Then we cut straight in and keep adjusting it until we get the angle and the length. Then we make the smooth curve to join the isthmus. Now on the facial side, we're all ready to go gingerly. Lingually, it's a little bit hard to see a nice flat wall. On the facial side, we definitely have a wall that's telling us where to put the axial and which direction it should go. On the facial side, it's not clear what it's telling us. So at the same pulpal level, go all the way over to the lingual. Don't get more shallow as you approach the lingual margin. Once you find a margin, then cut straight in. and adjust the angle until it's 90. Then make a smooth curve to join the isthmus. Now when you go gingerly, you can put a hole about right here and put a hole about right here. And then cut away from this side, then cut away from this side. So that's where your axial wall is going to be, that's where your corners are going to be. So you use those corners when you're going gingerly with the 50 fiber. Okay? Give it a try. Get this a little bit more clean. All right, so you going to have any facial clearance?
No, I have not got yet.
No. So don't cut from the margin inward until you have the margin. So margin should be out here. So you found a margin that you didn't have a clearance, and then you try to cut a 90-degree angle. No point in doing that until you get the actual clearance.
Okay.
Notice the direction I'm looking?
Yes.
I'm looking so I can see how close I am to the adjacent tooth. But see, you cut here.
Yes.
And if you're looking the way I am, you can see that you're cutting into the adjacent tooth, right?
Yes.
So look this way.
Okay.
Don't try to look down this way,
Okay.
because then you can't see how close you are to the adjacent tooth. That's the mistake everybody makes. Let's get even more facial clearance. I'll move the margin out farther facially. You get a little more clearance. Okay, I think I'll have enough clearance then. Then make your angle. Cut a straight wall in and adjust the angle until you have a 90-degree angle. So find the margin, find the angle, get the length, then make the curve. Then when you go gingerly, you're going to put the corner about right here and cut away from the wall this way. Now lingually, again, if your isthmus were narrower, that would have been better. A little bit too much clearance. Your exit angle is close to 90. But try to keep everything at the same level as the pulpal floor. You're letting the pulpal floor rise as it approaches that lingual wall. Keep the same pulpal floor level all the way to the margin, and all the way in from that margin. And then, make the smooth connection to the isthmus, however you have to do that. On the lingual side, you're going to put the corner about right here and cut away from the wall this way. So use those corners and this basic shape for the axial wall with the 50 fiber as you go gingerly, and you'll end up with something that looks pretty good. Okay?